Chris, you won't believe what happened this week.
What's that, Jeff?
No, really, it's another week. It was a great week, but here we are for the Ohio Tech Report. Chris, we have three great stories to share. So you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll do the first one. So the first is this is a really cool announcement between Uber, which we're all very familiar with, and a Columbus-based startup called ScriptDrop. ScriptDrop is a health tech company that does prescription delivery services. And so they're partnering with one of the biggest distribution channels when you think of cars and delivery out there, Uber. And so they're going to be enabling this partnership in 37 US states so people can receive medication at their doorstep. So this is a really cool partnership with an Ohio startup that's been growing in Columbus and one of the biggest startup success stories in really tech history.
Absolutely. This, once again, these, the changing business models, and this is a permanent change, right? So we had to adjust during the pandemic to more to your door deliveries and contactless deliveries. And I don't see this ever going back. So that's great news to see this service spinning up. Yeah,
it's really cool. And obviously, COVID has just been this massive disruptor. And so it's interesting how Uber, which was, Lyft and others like them, were hit really, really tough because people weren't going out. You weren't going out to, bars and restaurants or sporting games or traveling. But they're able to leverage with something that probably has seen increased opportunity because of this pandemic, and that's delivery service for prescriptions. Because if you don't have to go to the pharmacy, you don't have to make that physical trip, and it can come straight to your door. That's a great thing.
Right. Great pivot by Uber. And I'm sure it's broadening their age demographic, right? So Uber was probably young and socially upwardly mobile individuals. And now, somebody's grandmother will be leveraging this service perhaps.
Yeah, for sure. So now you can get a ride to the bar, you can get Uber Eats delivered, and you can also get your prescription. It's like the entire consumer life cycle.
Well, there you go. It's the cradle to grave. Let's go to number two, speaking of that. And I feel like I'm stealing a page from your playbook because I'm going to talk about HQ2s today. And yet another HQ2 locating in Columbus. It's called Huckleberry Insurance. And it's a Silicon Valley company, startup, that's now moving its operation to Columbus and New York. And so because of the area of expertise in Columbus becoming an insurtech hub, it's moving. So HQ2, Columbus is going to be the second headquarters relative to New York for Huckleberry, and a Root Insurance alum. His name is Bill Caper. He is leading the office. So once again, this is this compounding effect of having a successful exit, a successful company in insurance. And then this person is kind of leading the charge on yet another spin up. So it's great to see that I saw this article, Columbus Business First, referencing the talent pool, in that it's easier to recruit engineers to Columbus now post, in this kind of pandemic impacted world. So more continued momentum and success in the HQ2 movement.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy with this insurtech wave that Columbus is experiencing. It's almost like if you blink, you miss an announcement like this, and it's not even like a 1 or 2 person startup that's building something new in insurtech. I mean, these are HQ2s and really big investments, and so it's absolutely incredible to see the momentum for this space. And you have to think that it's only going to continue to grow. And I think it's like what Warren Buffett, like his favorite business line that he's in is insurance. And so you're kind of taking these American behemoths and bringing some innovation to them to build massive business opportunities.
Sounds good. Well, that's exciting. More to come there. So what do we have for number 3?
Yeah. So number 3 is a story about job openings, and this is kind of across the state that it's happening. We've talked previously about what Jobs Ohio and the state of Ohio and others are doing, but in Dayton there was one really interesting article that we'll share in the links that the Dayton Daily News put together, and the headline is really interesting: job openings plentiful, workers scarce. And then this is a quote, is it's all hands on deck to get people trained. And so this is kind of this theme, Jeff, that we've been talking about, where there's this really big reskilling and upskilling effort that's going on between the public sector, the private sector, public-private partnerships, in order to get Ohioans tooled for the right jobs, especially some of these emerging technology-related jobs. And so in Dayton is just one example. Thousands of jobs are available in the Dayton region, despite ongoing effects of the pandemic. But employers are facing these kind of difficulties where they can't find and keep skilled workers.
Yeah, that's tough. And it's, you can see the upskilling movement is happening. There are lots of training and certification programs on the horizon for workforce development. But, as far as small business owners, that's what keeps us up at night. Because typically you run with a fairly thin staff, and unless you invest in your team and in your employees, knowing that if you invest in them, you'll gain productivity at your organization and you'll scale and grow. But there's always that risk that you train them and they leave. But I think it's a worthwhile risk to pursue. And it's something that just you constantly think about as far as the future of our region, our economy, but then literally at the ground level, what happens at a small business and how they can be.
Yeah, and again, this is, I feel like every week we're hearing and seeing new things, and you and I have been a part of some interesting conversations with others lately on this reskilling and just a lot of the work that's happening, because it is a big deal, and these high tech, especially credentialings, I mean, they just come so rapidly and they're always changing. And so it's a huge thing, but I think the good news is that there's a lot of smart people and a lot of good organizations that are out there working to solve for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take advantage of tech cred. I'm seeing it as a perk or a benefit to team members and employees here. Yep. So it's probably good to continue to pursue that, continuing education and that reskilling and upskilling, because it'll just derive further benefits down the road for business owners and our region on the whole.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think we're right at the 7-minute mark, so we should probably stop talking and try to hit our length limit this week.
We nail it.
Yeah,
we nail it.
Exactly.
So, well, that's good. Any questions, comments, concerns? Get my office painted. So hopefully the next time we record it, I'll have a nice kind of background setting instead of this old wallpaper in this old building we're in downtown Youngstown. But Chris, thanks for catching up this week. Always good to learn what's shaking across the world of the Ohio tech sector.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Have a great weekend, and we'll be dropping the comments and the links to the stories in the comments, so check them out. If you have any that you want to share, just drop them in there, and we might be able to talk about it next week.
All right.